All right. Hey, everyone. Good afternoon and welcome to our Tuesday Live. Brian, how are you? Good to see you.
Hey, how's it going, Red?
Doing well. Yeah, we've got a lot in store today, and we're going to talk about grants. I think we have six grants we're going to talk through. We're going to talk about the breaking news that you may or may not have seen. SBF arrested. There's a hearing today in Congress. Sam Bankman-Fried from FTX. A lot of you are interested in crypto and what's happening to the crypto space. So, of course, we're going to talk a little about that, and also the inflation report that came out today that I covered in an earlier video today. So we're going to unpack some of that. Brian, we're going to hear your thoughts on this, your hot takes. I know you've got some hot takes there. And, but most importantly, we've got funding to talk about, especially year end funding. How many days left in the year? 18 days, I think, right? And
Sounds about right. Yeah.
people who are pushing, we know this, Brian, people are pushing to get grants by the end of the year. So we've got six opportunities to tell you about. Before we do anything else, though, if you have not entered our $5,000 grants and our $1,000 grants, we're giving out 3 grants next week. It's free to enter. Many of you know this. Helloskip.com/1K. There's a link to add this to your Skip funding tracker. If you do one thing today, just do that. It takes a few seconds. And I know some of you who've already tuned in have won our grants in the past. So we hope that all of you who tune in early can be some of our next winners.
Yeah.
So without further ado, yeah,
You've been
Brian,
meeting with some of the winners, haven't you, Ryder? How's that been?
it's been amazing. Yeah. And yeah, hearing your stories. We picked $500 winners 2 weeks ago. I think $1,000 winner and a $5,000 winner too. So yeah, it's great to talk
Mm.
to you who've won, and hopefully we can do lots more of these. It's great. Okay, drop in where you're watching from. I see California, Chicago, Illinois represented. We've got Maryland. Who else? Where else are you watching from?
Texas.
And while you're typing that in, hit the like button. Let's get YouTube to show this to more people because I think a lot of fellow entrepreneurs could use this extra support um, as we round out 2022. It's hard to believe how. Anyway, I'm going to be like a newscaster here where they always say, "Can you believe it's December already? Can you believe it's December 13th already?" So, but Brian, how's it going there? What did I miss that we're going to talk about today?
It's going good. Yeah. So yeah, FTX. Definitely talking about that. We've been letting everyone know about the grants. We're excited for next week, and we keep on mentioning to everyone. We have a new update to our app in the App Store. If you haven't downloaded that in a while or haven't updated it, make sure to check that out. We're really adding a lot of new features there, so that all these grants that we're talking about can just be added at just really quickly on your phone. You just click on them. And yeah, we're gonna also just kind of get into mission statements a bit to just kind of get ready for next year. You talk about some of the stuff that you can do so that you can be prepared to apply to lots of different grants, so you can be prepared to talk about your business next year, getting your messaging right and stuff like that. So yeah, excited. You want to jump right into it, Ryder?
Let's jump right into it. And yeah, shout out to we've got Georgia, North Carolina, Texas, New Jersey, Arizona. Good to see everyone. Yeah, a lot of these lives we have most of the country represented. So thanks for all the shout outs and all of you who've been supporting us not only this year, but the past few years. Yeah, thanks Susan for the super sticker, Wisconsin. So yeah, we're gonna just like Brian said. One of the biggest things I want to emphasize today is if you have been applying for grants this year or you haven't, one of the biggest things you can do is at least have your elevator pitch, so to speak, ready. So if you don't have that on hand, the one pager mission statement, why you're doing what you're doing, etc. Most of the grants require that, and it's just good to have that anyway. So we're going to get into
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I think maybe it would be good to mention just right off the bat if you are interested in that. We did leave a link to our blog post. We'll get into it a little bit later, but if you want to just start on like a template to get your mission statements ready, get your thoughts collected for your business and what you stand for and the stuff you want to put into grants, click that link in the description now to see that blog and template.
Absolutely. we're not going to belabor the news about SBF, but he was arrested last night in the Bahamas. People thought it was interesting timing because he was supposed to testify today in front of Congress. And, he'd been doing a media tour, which any lawyer would say, don't talk to the media, but he was doing it anyway to try to give prosecutors more to press him on. But anyway, he was going to talk to the House today, but because he was arrested, that's not possible. And he's probably going to be extradited. Who knows, but pretty soon from the Bahamas to the U.S. And meanwhile, there was a hearing today that went ahead without him. The person who took over for SBF, who's going through all the bankruptcy stuff, he was testifying today. He said this is the worst. This is the biggest mess since Enron, actually bigger than Enron. Anyway, Brian, what's your take on this? I know I talked about it earlier today already, but what's your take on this?
So a few questions there that I have for you that I think would be good is I think do you think if Sam goes to jail, do you think he will get more or less time than Elizabeth Holmes?
Well, certainly that's a good question. I would bet more time when we look at the number of folks who were affected. I mean, this is still early days, but we're talking about millions of customer accounts. In some cases, maybe one individual had multiple customer accounts. They're trying to figure that out, but we're talking about billions of dollars and
Wow.
millions of accounts.
Yeah.
What about you?
Wow. Yeah. No, well, I always think, oh, they're gonna give him 10 years and he'll get off in 4.5 with good behavior or something. But you might be right there. I mean, this is kind of one of the biggest, large scale fraud scandals. I think even it maybe even be bigger than Elizabeth Holmes. I think you're right. It's pretty huge. Like it's the amount of money is staggering. Yeah, I think it's really interesting that he was giving so many interviews. I don't know what the angle was there, but yeah, if you watch, there's other people on YouTube that were he was Sam was on Twitter Spaces just talking to people, just saying what's going on and it definitely seems like that was a really bad idea. It seemed like he admitted fraud a few times, just not on purpose, but just by talking about what his thought process was and what he knew and when he knew it, all that stuff's gonna be brought back, and man, it's crazy. Do you think, people are gonna be throwing him under the bus? Do you think people are like the guy is already doing that now that took over, but then you have other people that, maybe knew what was going on? Do you think there's gonna be a lot of that stuff going on?
I think so. I think that was already suspected that people had already cooperated with prosecutors because this was a pretty quick indictment issued yesterday. That's what led to the arrest. The U.S. issued the indictment. So yeah, I mean, I think what's interesting for our community here and a lot of small businesses and entrepreneurs, this is all related to some extent. A couple things. One, there's going to be collateral damage, cascading effects. What happened in 2020, 2021? We printed $6 trillion, a good percentage. It's unclear how many, but of course, there was also a boom in crypto that corresponded with this. And a lot of people put X percent of their net worth into crypto. And certainly that's affecting a lot of people, millions of accounts we're talking about. So anyway, with this demise, we're going to see that
Yeah.
other crypto exchanges are probably affected. I think this is just the beginning. I think still um, we're going to see some more damage, and of course that all affects the broader economy as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it might be good to just I'm not gonna be able to, give it a big rundown of what happened, but let me just say real quick for people that don't quite maybe understand what's going on with FTX. There's a lot there, a lot that I can't even, cover right now, but I think at, like, the basic level, people gave FTX their money for crypto. If you're buying Bitcoin, it's sitting there. And then people also had a lot more riskier stuff going on. So it's like if a bank, yeah, has like people with savings accounts, and then a bank has people that are maybe day trading that have more risky accounts. Um, and they were commingling those funds. So at some point, a lot of withdrawals happened, a lot of money evaporated, and people that just had their Bitcoin in there that weren't trying to do anything risky, that had a terms of service that just said, "Hey, we're just parking my Bitcoin with you guys." The Bitcoin was used for all of that more riskier trading because they maybe thought that, "Oh, hey, we're smart enough, we're good enough, we're gonna make more money on this, so it's okay to use that." So there's a lot more to that. That's just a very simple rundown, though. I just wanted to give people kind of an idea of what was happening there with him.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, obviously, it's an interesting story to watch. I think what's more pertinent, well, besides our grants, we'll get to the six grants in a second here. But the good news today, like to say the flip side, I think Brian and I were both half glass full, is the inflation report. So this should be encouraging to everyone. You as a individual, you as a small business owner or entrepreneur. Um, it was better than expected. So it beat expectations. The Fed is meeting tomorrow. They're going to raise interest rates again, but it's going to be lower, probably 0.5% is what's expected. So that's a good sign. They're also going to give their prognosis for what they expect going into 2023. Do they expect to keep raising interest rates? Obviously, it's a lot of guesswork to a certain extent. But anyway, this report comes out once a month. And it shows a couple things I want to point out here before we get to the grant. So one, airline fares gone down, uh, cars and trucks have gone down, and a couple other things like energy prices have also gone down. Still, shelter and food have still gone up month over month. So anyway, there's some silver lining. Yeah, would love to hear in the comments any of you still feeling affected. What are you feeling affected the most by when you're out purchasing stuff this holiday season? Maybe it's gifts, maybe you're looking to do a big car purchase, or I'm not sure, but would love to hear in the comments. Yeah, Brian, what did I miss here, and what's your takeaway from the inflation reading?
Well, yeah, this graph, I'm looking at it now. This is the first time I saw this graph. So it's looking like, is the dot with that's filled in, is that where it was, or is that where it is now? I'm not
Yeah,
exactly sure how
so
to read this.
yeah, it's the hard dot is the 12-month change, and then there's the 1 month change. Yeah, it's interesting that the Wall Street Journal graphics team, but you basically see the middle here is no change, and you can see some of the things have actually improved. So right here, you've seen that natural gas, energy, electricity, gas has all improved month over month. Same with used cars and trucks. Same with
Mm,
car and truck rentals and airline fares.
gotcha. Okay, yeah, that's good. Um, yeah, I mean, my take would be, did I I think people, at least for me, like with like the Fed and their rate changes and them trying to, control the economy, I've always been taught, it's like they do what they can, but there's really not like just one lever that you can pull that can kind of make things happen. But it seems like what they've done has been semi-effective. Would you agree?
Yes, certainly. I think it's there. There's also, borrowing is more difficult. Also, home buying is down as well. But a lot of good comments here on food and groceries. As we can see, these are still some of the high prices when you go to the grocery store, and this is, of course, probably what you're seeing most often going to the grocery store. So, yeah, still a long way to go, but there's a good signal. That's the main takeaway I wanted to share with you. Uh, and I know a lot of you are still thinking about funding. By the way, tomorrow at the same time, we're doing a in-depth funding outlook. So we're going to talk about some SBA programs, disaster loans, 7A, 504, ERC. So basically some year-end funding programs. If you're interested in that, you'd be sure you've got your alerts on for tomorrow. Let's switch gears to the grants. So we've put up 6. We've talked about various times. All these links are in the description. And we're just going to go in order here. And of course, the quick plug is any of these grants or any of these funding, anytime you need help, you've heard me say it lots of times, but you can always work with our team. It's been an honor this year to work with thousands of businesses, help them get funding, apply for grants. So if you were ever unable to pull the trigger on funding, or you just forgot about it, you can work with us. So I'm leaving a number down below here. So you can always call us or visit talktoskip.com just to learn about memberships. It's more like just if you're curious, you've been on the fence for a while. I'll leave that up. But Brian, how about we start with this 10K grant and then
Yeah.
just go down and briefly explain the 6 grants that are available.
Yep, this one's a pretty simple one to apply for. So there's no due date on this one. We actually reached out and tried to get them to give us more details on that, but it looks like they just choose people on a rolling basis. I counted last year, or I guess this year, they've chosen already 28 people to win this award. So that's pretty good chances. So it's between 5,000, 10,000. You have to be a Black founder for a startup, or a bit. It doesn't have to be a startup. You could have already had your business, but you're maybe looking to scale things like that. Yeah, it's a great opportunity. Like I mentioned, they are giving out quite a bit of them. So if you have like a good story, you have a good little pitch for them. I would say that your chances are pretty decent, in comparison to some of the grants that sometimes are only giving out one or three $10,000 grants. That this one's given out. They're giving out 20, 30 grants. So definitely put this on your radar.
Yeah, if you're a Black woman or Black non-binary entrepreneur, link in the description and also on the app. You can see it there. So I think some of you have already applied for this, but that's a good one. Number 2. All right, Brian,
Yep.
go Galaxy of Stars. And
Yep.
by the way, Katrina said she applied for that. So I know some of you said you've applied for this already. So take it away.
Yep. Yeah, so this is one. So Katrina, make sure I don't know if you've applied for this one specifically, because Galaxy of Stars is one that we talk about all the time because they are always having different types of grants, different amounts, different people that can apply for them. For them, this one is for $1,250 grants in December. They're giving you one away every week on Thursday. So they're going to be giving out another one in just 2 days. And then they have, is there 2 more Thursdays this month, or just one more Thursday? Do you know, right? Or not sure. But either way, there's still
Yeah,
at
there's
least
at
two
least a
more
couple more. I think
available.
there's 3 more. There'd
Yeah.
be 3 more. Yeah.
Yep. Which is
That's a
great.
good one. That's a good one here. Yeah, and for minority and women-owned businesses, right? When you're wondering who's eligible for this, and all right,
Yep.
number 3. Well, let's go back to ours here too, if you haven't yet, because we talked about this at the top. This is open to everyone, and if you're an entrepreneur or small business owner, helloskip.com/1K, and you can. By the way, you can tell others about it too. A lot of you have been doing that. Um, all right. Next up, 10K Dove Instagrams. This is relatively new. So, Brian, go for it.
Yep, this is exciting because this is a new one that we found. So this one you're gonna have to apply with a 30-second video. We actually really like these. We've shared a lot of these in the past and had a lot of success where we've reshared your video on Instagram. So it's just a 30-second video, not a lot of room for a lot of fluff. You just got to get down to business. Who you are, what your business is. We know what you're gonna do with the grant. Really simple, easy. Um, Quick video. So we got that there, and we also did make I made a video last week that if you download our app and you check out the app on your phone, you can see a video that I made that gives you some tips for these video grant applications, because it's something that we've been finding so many people are asking for it, and it's just another step that people are just not going to do. So there's always a higher chance of you winning these grants if you have that ready to go. You got your phone, you got your light, your audio set up, and how, and you've practiced, speaking on camera, maybe writing out a script. You're going to have really high chances of success for grants.
Yeah, and who's this one for? I forget if you said it.
It's women-owned businesses. Yeah, this one's
Yeah,
for
got
women-owned
it. So
businesses.
yeah,
And it's
so
Dove
minority or
chocolate.
women-owned. Yeah, just keep that in mind.
Yep. So this is Dove chocolate, not Dove the soap. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds great. Yeah, Tia, would love to hear how it goes. And also, if you haven't tagged us on the Instagram post and follow us there, of course, that's all of you can do that. Yeah, like Brian said, we'll regularly reshare you. I know a lot of
Yeah.
companies are trying this now, where it's like, oh, yeah, we want you to do your 30-second elevator pitch and then post it on socials. Makes sense. So, we
Yeah.
can help magnify you if you apply, if you tag us. Okay,
Yeah.
Johnny Walker, I Fund Women Johnny Walker First Strides Grant. This has been an ongoing for a while, and I know a lot of you have applied for this. Um, I'll just say also for women-owned businesses. But Brian, what are the other details here?
Yeah, so they're giving out 10 of them, which is again, that's great. 10 of them. Um, and yeah, it's by the end of the month, you need to have been in business for at least 2 years, you need to be located in the US, a minimum of $25,000 in annual revenue, and a majority owned business. So that it makes sense when these grants are asking you, hey, you need to have at least some annual revenue because they don't want people just making a business up that has no revenue and just saying, hey, I'm a business, give me the money. Some businesses want to keep you from doing that, so that makes sense. So 25K is not it's not a huge ask there though. So yeah.
Absolutely. And by the way, that reminds me, maybe I'll give a preview of this huge story that we're going to do a video on later, but it's
Mhm.
about the PPP program. I know a lot of you have, obviously are aware of PPP, EIDL. A lot of you got PPP rounds one or round two, depending on what lender you got. Anyway, there's a lot of news there on,
Yeah.
let's say, the level of fraud that happened, including some of the lenders, some of the biggest lenders that approved these. So that's a big story. I'll just give a quick preview of that at the end here. I don't know what made me think of that, but all right. And then the fifth grant here, which we've talked about, but it has a deadline also on December 31st, is this one for restaurants. What's this
Yep.
one about?
Yeah, so this one is restaurants that were affected by COVID. So this one has been going on all year. It's going to be ending this next month. But who knows if they had, maybe they because they had a set amount of money that they were giving away, um, half a million. So who knows? They may have a bunch of money left. You never know. We definitely, encourage you to apply for this one if you're a restaurant. See if there's any funds left that they haven't given away yet.
Absolutely. And
And real quick, Katrina was mentioning Amber Grants, which is a great one. We don't always like to tell people about Amber Grants because they unfortunately do charge people to apply, which we don't like sending people there, and then that you have to pay money to apply for the grant. But if you find value in their membership and you want to spend money there, that is also a good one to be aware of.
absolutely. And while you're all here too, would love to hear what else is on your mind with the 17, 18 days left in the year, uh, for your business or wherever you're at. We try to cover these grants every single week here on the app, um, for a couple main reasons. But one, no matter the size of your business, zero in revenue, 100K, 1 million in revenue, um, grants are like a nice opportunistic thing. We say, look, you should, give the old college try and apply for them to the extent that you're eligible. So that's why we do these, but would love to hear what else is on your mind, when it comes to growing your business. That's always important for Brian and I and our team. And, I also wanted to share this here too. This is a preview of the report, we're going to do an in-depth video on. So basically, Womply and Blue Acorn, if any of you receive PPP funding from them, there's a huge 150-page report that points out basically, I think they call it gross negligence by those companies in terms of approving, obviously fraud PPP applications. And this is billions of dollars in taxpayer money. Here's one thread where members of gangs in Florida were saying, what the F is Womply, basically sharing like, yeah, Womply's easy to apply for free money. So gangs were talking about this, and at Womply and Blue Acorn, they were basically saying like, don't do due diligence, just process them, get them approved. So they're really, um, like they have screenshots of internal communication. So I'm going to go into that uh, in an upcoming video. But
Mhm.
yeah, if you followed the PvP story, this is an interesting plot twist. Maybe it's a plot twist, or maybe many of you knew that this was happening.
Yeah, yeah, you were telling me about that earlier this week, and yeah, that is just it's just horrible when I mean, we know more than most, how many people are just hurting for funds for their business, and then just to see the amount of fraud there that takes away. the funds that businesses, legitimate businesses could have had. That's too bad.
Absolutely. And that's, then this is, a lot of taxpayer dollars. I mean, all of these cost taxpayer dollars, but this is might be like thousands of dollars in taxpayer dollars that was spent, and it's going to be tough to recover a lot of this. So, all right. So a couple questions here. One is the name of the restaurant, Grant, is we've got it
Well, you
up
can
here.
actually find it in the description of this video. So just go in the description there. I believe it's the last of the group of links there.
Mhm. The Greg Hill Foundation Restaurant Strong Fund and Grubhub working on that together. And yeah, it's a good one. Would love to hear if anyone's applied for that. And yeah, most importantly, holiday wishes. This is great. Hopefully, you have time over these next 3 weeks to reflect on the year and plan for 2023. I mean, we're spending a lot of time with folks now who say, "Oh, you want 2023, you want to accomplish more for your business." When this year started, everything was up and to the right. Capital was still cheap. I think November 2021 was the peak stock market. Then things were going down, but still EIDL was still a thing up until March and April this year. Since the spring and summer, we've seen this economic decline. We've seen a couple quarters of contracted or negative economic growth. So we're optimistic for 2023. And I know a lot of you are planning like, okay, what can your revenue growth be next year? How much funding can you get? How many grants can you get or apply for? And so, yeah, as always, we're here to help.
Yep. And beyond funding too, we've been helping people a lot with road mapping their business with, once you get that funding, what are you going to do with it? What's, the next step for your business? That's really what we've been trying to specialize people with, after funding.
Absolutely. So as always, any of you try those grants or need help, good to hear that you're applying. And Jen, yeah, shout out to Rochester. And yeah, hopefully we can connect soon and get to know your business. Yeah, that's one of the things we love doing, just learning about your business, your ideas, wherever you're at. And that's it. That's today's quick webinar. All the links are in the description. Yeah, if you care about the SBF news, or our hot takes on how much prison time he might get, we'll continue to give our hot takes there. But I think most of you just want to get your business to a good spot.
Yep.
All right. Brian, anything we want to end with today before we sign off for today, or any plugs?
Well, I think we mentioned it. We got the app that's new. Make sure to download that. Search HelloSkip in any of the app stores. We have the mission statement template, and just if you haven't done that yet, start your year off right. Get a template going so that when you apply for grants next year, it's something that you've thought through, written out, and you don't have to redo that again every single time. So yeah, those are the big ones. And get excited for next week because we're going to be giving out some more grants.
That's right. Yeah, here's the blog post that's also in the description. Yeah, if you have your one pager that goes over this, you're golden. And tell others too. They'll love you for it. They'll be like, "Oh, what a great idea! I should have a one pager about my business or a 30-second video." And can't wait to see some of you tomorrow. We're going to be live tomorrow talking about some other year-end funding options for you to keep in mind. Maybe you're aware of it, but hopefully it'll be a good reminder. And as always, we can answer your questions. And but sounds great. And yeah, Brian, thanks for joining.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. We'll see y'all soon. And have a great rest of the week.
See you guys next week.